in a lot of ways, college football has never been better. In fact, we just had a regular season that was the most popular regular season in the history of the sport. When you take a look at the minutes viewed across any network in this sport, this is the highest that it's ever been. These semifinal games were incredible. I mean, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, again, there is so much going right in college football that I think at times it gets overshadowed because of some of the issues that we have in college football. So I think it's imperative over the next 12 or 18 months that the powers that be, whether it's the players, the coaches, the conferences, or even the organizing structures around the sport, that they get on the same page and that we provide some fixes to some issues that could move us into a real golden age for the sport. So first and foremost, let me just kind of bring up some of the things that we need to address. So if we're looking at areas that we need to improve this sport that we all love, I think that there needs to be, some sort of centralized governing structure or commissioner. The collectives need to be looked at. The transfer portal, bowl season is not what it used to be. The college football playoff committee, scheduling between what conferences do, how many league games they each play, and then the calendar. So there's a lot going on here and a lot to fix. And you could try to take one issue and provide Band-Aids over them. Or I think that you can look at some things that might provide relief over a number of those issues. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that I think need to happen in the next 12 or 18 months in order to make the sport better for everybody involved. These are not one-sided fixes. Okay. The first fix would be, I think that the calendar needs to change. What we have now is totally unsustainable. And that is, we create this regular season where the popularity of college football reaches this crescendo around Thanksgiving and then in the conference championship games. And then we go away for a month and we try to rebuild that hype for the playoff. That's crazy. We need to move the postseason closer to the regular season. Stop taking the month of December off. What that also allows you to do, again, not just a Band-Aid over the calendar, but it's also a Band-Aid for other fixes as well. What will that allow you to do? Well, the transfer portal could then, in theory, remain closed until the end of the season. So that way, coaches, programs, and fans won't have to deal with these transfer portal players in the middle of bowl season. So we would allow the season to finish, then they can make a decision about where they're going to play the next year. I think that would be imperative. And then after that, then we get into high school recruiting. So the early signing day and the transfer window, it wouldn't be early in December. I would move it to the end of the regular season. If we do that, I think we can alleviate a lot of the stress and confusion, both from the coach's perspective and the player's perspective. They can make more informed decisions about where they want to go, compete, and be a part of a program than they are right now. The next change that I would make, and this one's a little bit harder, I'm going to acknowledge that. I think that the players need to be organized so that we can collectively bargain with an association. Now, if you're a player's advocate, you might think to yourself, like, I don't know if I want that, but I do think that would also benefit the player. And then there's some obvious benefits outside of the players' association. And that's where we could address collectives, and we could address portal, we could address timing, and a lot of those issues. And if we can collectively bargain with a players' association, we can fix a lot of issues moving forward. We wouldn't wind up in court all the time because somebody, one person, dislikes a rule and they don't feel like it's advantageous for them, and so they challenge it. See, this is a big moment in our sport. And the fact is that in an ever litigious society, we wind up in court in college athletics all the time. And the reason is because we don't have an association to collectively bargain with, to set guidelines and fences. Those guidelines and fences, I think, are important for everybody involved. And I think those two fixes, whether it's moving the postseason closer to the regular season or creating a players' association so that we can collectively bargain with that association to form some sort of guidelines around the movement and structure of the sport, those would be really great starts in the next 12 or 18 months, and we can move forward into what I think is a really important time in our sport. Because again, this has never been better. And as Chip Kelly says, there's no crying on the yacht because this sport is fantastic. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College football on Fox.